Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Good morning, everyone, to those who are here in person in the sanctuary Temple Beth Am. Hello to those who are joining us live on Facebook, on my page or on Temple Beth Am's page, and hello to those who are joining via the Temple Beth Am podcast series. It's wonderful to claim these minutes together. The orientation, the direction of our meditation today will be towards something I've been thinking about since I gave a drash about it earlier in the week, and that is, what are the freedoms in front of us that we have not yet claimed? There are a lot of things that stop us from doing what we might want and need to do. There are times where our pathway is blocked. There are also times where the pathway is wide open, and we might hesitate. We might choose not to run forward. And I'm thinking of the scene. It's not a narrative scene, it's a legal scene, the opening lines of Parshat Mishpatim, the Parsha that we're in, where the Hebrew Eved, the Hebrew servant, after having served 6 years, is told by the master, you are free, because in the ancient Hebrew world, even if you were a servant indentured, you were not obligated to work past 6 years. And the Torah says there were cases where perhaps an Eved would say, I like it here. I'm taken care of. I want to stay. I want to choose to be further indentured. I want to choose to be anchored, limited, and chained in some way. Torah law permits it, but with a price. The servant would be brought to the door, the gate of the home, and all would be pushed through the servant's ear, would have that mark in the servant's ear forever. Rashi famously says it's because the ear that was supposed to be hearing and listening at Sinai, saying that God is a God of freedom. God wants you to command for yourself all of the liberations that are in front of you. You weren't listening, ear, if you're choosing to stay an indentured servant. Therefore, your ear will be punctured forever. Most of us, thank goodness, are far, far away from living a life of slavery or indentured servitude. However, how many times are we facing a doorway to something new and maybe a little frightening, available to us, and yet we hesitate? Liberating, free, wide open, and we linger over the lintel of the door, and we wonder, maybe it's more comfortable to stay where we are. It will be that I would invite us to meditate on and ruminate on as we move from a word of Torah into minutes of reflection, of quiet, of a little bit of ideas, but mostly the absence of ideas. If you haven't already, close your eyes. And watch as your body transforms, almost as if the space around you is spinning and turning and changing from the normal material 3 dimensions into an endlessness that you are in the middle of, in a way that you know exactly where you are. You can picture it. You can feel it. You remember walking into this space or room and sitting down where you sat. But you're also beyond this space, not contained by it. If you haven't already, place your feet flat on the ground, creating a series of sharp right angles between your feet and your lower legs and your thighs. And then the one that we most often forget, between our thighs and our torso, with no slouch, with no crookedness, just straightening our backs with dignity, imagining the straightest of lines, extending from our tailbone down to the ground, up through the crown of our heads, into the infinite heavens. You may notice that you are now pulling back your head to be more over your shoulders, a recognition of how stooped we often are when we're not thinking to straighten. And notice parts of your body that are calling out to you, either because they are fatigued and they are enjoying this intentional rest, or because they're alive and coursing with vitality, and you're just realizing it for the first time. Just for a moment, do a tour of your body, from your toes all the way to your head, pausing where it makes sense to pause, to be present, to be grateful for a body that we probably too often spurn, and to think of it all as a gift from the heavens. You haven't yet started noticing your breathing. You can adjust your breathing ever so slightly, such that you're a little more in control of it, rather than it's being simply behind the scenes. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can try breathing in through your nose and holding it for 2 counts, so that releasing the air is an intentional act. Just that short pause deepens your awareness of this every moment act, allows you to be aware of it and really in awe of it. Brings your attention to your diaphragm and the involvement and interaction of the muscles that allow for that air to come in, to go deep into your lungs, to be transported to every cell in your body, and then to be expelled when you choose to. What a marvelous system. I want you to imagine that you're at a door. You've already pictured it in your mind. You can be a little curious as to why that door came up. You might be in your home. You might be in this building. It might be a random platonic image of a door. But you're at a door. You're at a liminal moment. Behind you is avdut, service, servitude, a sense of being at least partially owned, claimed, limited, restricted. On the other side of that door is cherut, freedom, liberation, a lack of tethers, open and expansive. Fill in the specifics with whatever your mind chooses to, or leave it open and vague. Behind you, avdut. In front of you, cherut. And you linger. Hesitating to place the foot forward into the expanse in front of you. Why? What is there that you are reluctant to claim? What is behind you that is both limiting but familiar and known and comfortable? Just conduct a study of yourself as you stand in the door jamb, pondering what it would be like to step forward into something new and free, expansive, but maybe frightening, liberating, and unfamiliar. And as you watch yourself, only your mind can decide whether you're going to watch yourself standing in the spot or watch yourself marching forward with purpose and trying to feel what that feels like, trying to see what that looks like. While breathing, while holding this still position, even as the form in your mind's eye watches you potentially moving, progressing, even rushing. And when you're ready, even if part of you doesn't want this moment to end, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Come back to this world from wherever you've been. I'm going to share the screen and we'll say the closing meditation prayer together, which we say 3 times. May we and all beings have happiness in the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering in the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness in the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering in the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness in the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering in the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. And may we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. And I say to you all, Shalom and Shabbat Shalom. Namaste. And see you soon.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.